What's Nintendo's biggest accomplishment? You might think it's the multitude of consoles they've released over the years since the original NES. Except the Virtual Boy. But I'd say that's wrong. Instead, I think it's the plethora of unique and memorable IPs, which stands for intellectual property. In simple terms, it's their characters. From Mario to Zelda, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who didn't recognize one of these beloved icons. And with over 830 million Mario games sold worldwide, it's no wonder that the mustachioed plumber was once said to be more recognizable than Mickey Mouse. So Nintendo knows the power of its characters. Release just one new game with one of these guys, and you'll bring Nintendo fans to tears. Or just make a movie and gross over 1.4 billion worldwide. But Nintendo didn't stumble upon this success by accident. They were simply paying attention in school when their teachers taught them the elements of fiction. So I guess you'd better do the same. In the video Handcrafted Stories, we talked about the importance of making each story unique. One way to do that is to effectively use the elements of fiction. Characters, setting, plot, and theme. These 4 items are the recipe to any good story. One of them, however, might be the most important. When we talk about fiction, we mean stories that are made up, pretend, and each element contributes to the tapestry of a narrative, helping you weave a spellbinding tale. Let's start with setting, the enchanting world where the tale unfolds. Whether it's a bustling city, a mystical realm, or a far-off galaxy, the setting sets the stage for the adventure. It tells us where a story takes place and the time it is in. It can be a real place or imaginary. The setting may not seem that important at first, but it can do several things, like setting the tone of the story. Dark, abandoned locations? Then you might have a gloomy and morose one. Time and location are also key in figuring out the genre, such as whether it's going to be science fiction or historical fiction. It can also play into the theme of the story, but that's over here on the chart and we're not ready for that yet. Instead, let's try a little game. Can you figure out the name of the movie? Be the first to call it and get it right. Winners get candy. I promise. Let's move on to the plot, the element that keeps us on the edge of our seats. Plot is a series of events with conflict. That last part is super important. A series of events will give you a story, but a boring one. Add conflict? Now we're talking. There are all kinds of ways to incorporate conflict into a story, but that's a video for another day. Plot also needs a structure to make a satisfying story. The most common one is Freytag's pyramid, which I talk about in more detail here. The short version is that a well-crafted plot keeps us guessing, feeling, and hoping for that satisfying resolution. Next, we have the theme, the beating heart of the story's message. Themes are the life lessons and deeper meanings woven throughout the narrative. It can be challenging to spot, as it's rarely stated outright. Instead, we infer with clues from the setting, plot, characters, and dialogue. Whether it's friendship, courage, love, forgiveness, themes resonate with us because they reflect our own experiences that last beyond the meaning of the story. And finally, we have characters. It's where we started this video, and the element I think is the most important. Major characters are the brave heroes and cunning villains, while minor characters are quirky sidekicks and all the unique beings in between. And they certainly don't have to be human. With that comes the terms protagonist, or the leading character, and the antagonist, or the adversary. There are all kinds of character types: round, static, flat, dynamic, but that's also a discussion for a different time. So why are characters the most important element of fiction? Characters give us an emotional connection. We may see ourselves in them, and that will make a story more relatable and engaging. Characters often grow and transform. We identify with their struggles and triumphs. Their motivations are at the core of the storyline, giving meaning to the events that drive the narrative. Characters are instrumental in the exploration of themes and symbols. Their experiences, beliefs, and interactions can shed light on broader issues, making the themes more relevant and impactful. But all of this is wrapped up into what makes stories memorable. Because the most enduring stories are often those with well-crafted, multi-dimensional characters that resonate with audiences over time. And Nintendo knows this, which is why they have spent so much time designing fun and creative characters. But now it's time for one final test. How well do you know these famous movie characters and their villains? Thanks for playing. It's now your turn to embark on a creative journey. Unlock the power of these elements and let your imagination run wild.